and welcome to VIBEZ Daily. This is a daily devotional curated by VIBEZ Church to help you practice the way of Jesus and be all that God has called you to be. You have joined us for our year-long series titled Devoted. Acts 2:42 tells us that the followers of Jesus were devoted to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, to breaking of bread, and to prayer. This podcast was created to provide context and commentary for what you read each day. Just before our friends begin discussing today's reading, we want to invite you not only for fellowship, but for prayer as well. We have created the VIBE Daily Chat Group to offer you fellowship and a community where you can state your observations, ask questions about the reading or the podcast. You can join us by downloading the VIBEZ Church app in your favorite app store. Click Join the Conversation and join us today. And finally, we hope that you can join us for prayer. Prayer happens Monday through Friday, and more information on that can be found on the VIBEZ Church app under prayer. Now, let's begin our conversation on today's reading.
Welcome back to the VIBEZ Daily podcast, where we are in a series titled Devoted, and we are reading the Bible from cover to cover all year long. Now, you guys have joined us in Psalms, where we have been talking about it some this week, and we get to continue on in Psalms 52 through 60 today. I'm with my best friend, Nakia.
Hey, y'all.
Yes, she's joining us today, and we're super excited to continue the conversation this week. Now, if you've been tuning in this week, you know that we've really been talking about the different Psalms throughout the readings that really stuck out to us. Like that just moved us in any way, and things that we were able to apply from them. And so that's what we'll continue to do. Instead of going through every Psalm per se, we'll be able to just point out the ones that really stuck out to us. So,
and I think it's really easy in this book because, again, like I said, the book of Psalms are songs, from the heart. A lot of it is feelings and more practical. So I'm really enjoying that we're walking through this book in this way.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that I'm sure resonate with a lot of us.
For sure. Yes. Yeah, well, we could go ahead and dive in, starting in Psalm 52. Is there anything that kind of resonated with you in any of these chapters during this week?
Today.
Yeah.
So in Psalms 53, I don't know why we say Psalms, because it's no S. It's just Psalm.
That part.
Yeah, I just want to, give that disclaimer. It's Psalm. Just because 53 simply sums up that we've all have sinned. And because of sin, no person can find God on his own. So it's just a 6 short verses.
Yep.
But I believe we've all, even those of us who are believers, have come to a place where we doubted God, or maybe questioned whether he was really there or not. So it says, I like verse 2 because it says God looks down from heaven on the entire human race.
Yeah.
So he sees everyone the same. He looks to see if there's even one with real understanding, one who truly seeks for God. So I don't know that there's any of us who are exempt from, we're just always been close to Jesus and believe he's always there in every situation and never doubted him in any way. It's but this is what God is. This points to what God is looking for in the center.
Yeah.
And so, Psalms 53 was one of the ones that stood out for me. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I do love that you pointed out these verses, because even in 3, how it says there is no one who does good, not even one. I think it helps for me to not be so self-righteous, if you will, to to think that I am exempt from being considered as those who, not even one is good. And so, because even my good isn't good, even as good as what it can be for God. The only person who was able to really live that out was Jesus. And living a blameless life, and not just a blameless life, but a sinless life. And I can't say the same, but thank God, because of his just redemption, I get to be looked as if I have. But I do love that, because it is just humbling to say the least, even for me, to remember. I do love in one, Psalm 52, just kind of going back a little bit. This is a psalm. It says where someone had basically went to Saul, who had been chasing and running after David, trying to kill him, and told of where David was at the time. And so I do, there was a couple verses that stuck out to me. In verse 7, I feel like David was calling out this person, or even it could have even been Saul, but he says, "Here now is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his great wealth and grew strong by destroying others." One, I want to pause there because we just talked about yesterday, like just what it looks like to kind of cling to your wealth and like not really cling on to God. And just knowing that, like, he laid it out specifically, like, God was not your stronghold. Like, God, you did not have the Lord for your own, as your own savior. And, like, what you felt was success was you literally, like, killing other people. But I love how he said in 8 and 9, he says, "But I am like an olive tree flourishing." Flourishing in the house of God. I trust in God and fell in love forever and ever. And for what you have done, I will always praise you in the presence of your faithful people. And I will hope in your name, for your name is good. And so
there's that hope again.
Yeah.
You know? Even after all of the feelings and or even not necessarily feelings in this psalm, but just, you know, just the call out of the wickedness or just the disgrace. He ends here again with the hope of Jesus.
And even to that reminder of like me flourishing looks like being in God's presence and not in, you know, these other things that people may consider as like wealth or like success. So that was beautiful to me because it's that reminder that like there's nothing better than God himself.
I love how the Bible repeats itself. Right? Because it made me think about I think that's is it Joshua 1 and 8 when it talks about you know, meditate on the word day and night and then you will be successful. Like this is what success looks like when you stay in his presence. And don't quote me on that. I think it was Joshua.
What was funny is we actually talked about that some in Psalm in the beginning of Psalms where, and again, because the Bible does repeat itself a lot, which we do love, is that David had even mentioned that too. Like he was talking about meditating on a word day and night, and then it was, and he specifically had said, and whatever you do will prosper. And so I thought that was pretty just good and fruitful, but it could have been in Joshua as well, which is just amazing to be reminded of that. Anything else? I have Psalm 54 lit up. Just loving to see David's prayer to God. I'm often reminded in his language that it's a prayer. In verse 1 and 2, it says, "Save me, O God, by your name. Vindicate me." There we go with that vindicate again. Me by your might. Hear my prayer, O God. Listen to the words of my mouth. And then he continues on to talk about, like just those who are attacking him have no regard for God. But surely God is my help. The Lord is the one who sustains me. There was probably some other Psalms even throughout the day that we'll be able to read and even throughout the week. But I just want to pause here and say that I appreciate, even in the midst of trouble in these different seasons in David's life, I love how we get to see him cling on to God. And literally what I feel like he gives us a great example of what it looks like to just really stay close to God in all situations. And even knowing that he was oftentimes running or fleeing from different enemies, and again, we know that Saul was after him, and he's been in different wars and stuff. To know that what stayed consistent was his continual communion with God. I was just like, man,
regardless of what it looked like or how much he was in dismay.
For sure. And that takes you setting aside time for God. Because I can't say the same for me in seasons where when everything good, or when, you know, I'm so busy, like I'm struggling to even just have a little word with God, let alone like, again, in these
being intentional about being on your face before the Lord.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like you said, David is a man after God's own heart, and we really got to see that throughout Psalms. So yeah. But yeah, moving right along, we got Psalm 50.
I think Psalms 57 points to that too, because the theme of it is God's faithful help and love in times of trouble. And it says here, this isn't a verse, but it's just giving an overview of the psalm. And it says, God will quiet our hearts and give us confidence in the face of those trials. And so I hate to, seem like, this, what you call it, a weeping prophet or something. But man, like that just, it just rings true throughout this psalm. And so a few of the verses that stood out to me was like Psalm 57:2. I cry out to God Most High, to God who will fulfill His purpose for me.
Yeah.
And so again, there's that hope with whatever trial I'm facing. God is still going to fulfill His purpose for you. It's not going to hinder where He's taking you. None of it is wasted. All of it is used. And then verse 5 says, be exalted, O God, above the highest heavens. May your glory shine over all the earth. A lot of times His glory comes from our trials. If we endure, if we persevere.
That's good.
And then verse 7 says, my heart is confident in you, O God. No wonder I can sing your praise. And so there's your song of praise.
I like your version.
It varies, right? But yeah, so Psalm 57 for me is just a reminder throughout that, again, what you were saying, like the Lord is near, and then it goes to the end of that psalm. It goes into singing a song of praise.
Yeah.
Just to the Lord. In verse 8 it says, wake up, my soul, wake up, O heart. And is it Lear?
Yeah, that's what I say.
Lear.
Okay.
I will waken the dawn with my song. I will thank you, Lord, in front of all the people. I will sing your praises among the nations. And this is after times of trouble. So Psalm 57 did it for me, fam.
And I'm glad that you mentioned this and that you kind of like recapped it and even, just put that bow on it, just really seeing David's heart, because this psalm specifically, like the description tells us in my Bible, at least, it says that this is when literally David is in a cave. He's in a cave hiding from Saul.
Yeah.
And I remember earlier in this year when we read about that, if I'm not mistaken, in that moment in that cave, like he could have died, but he basically had this interaction with Saul where he was like, listen, like, I could have killed you.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even see me here or whatever the case may have been. And like, I could have killed you, but like, that's not even my heart.
Yeah.
And I hope that's what the text said. 'Cause man, we halfway in a year. So, but from what I can recall, like it was this moment where he did get to at least encounter Saul in that cave, and like he was, his life was spared, but you writing this in a cave.
And still singing praises.
And what if that cave is a metaphor even to a season when we've been in just darkness, or where we're just like, we don't even see the light of day.
Yeah, man.
Yet, like you said, still singing praises. So, man, like so much to learn from that, but also just knowing that he's relying on the Lord to be the one that vindicates him and not his own self.
Yeah. And that gives you confidence. Like when you really know and believe that the Lord is before you, vindicating you, like it gives you confidence.
It does, man.
My heart is confident in you, oh God.
Yes. I wonder too, because I see a few of these psalms, because a lot of these songs are actually written to the director of music, it says that it's written in the tune of "Do Not Destroy," and I see that, and I'm like, what song is that?
Yeah,
because I want to know. Let me hear the tune.
It's probably a hymn.
Right. Probably a good old hymn they were singing, because there's a few of them that said it was to that tune. So I'm like,
interesting.
y'all seem pretty advanced now. Y'all had titles of songs and everything, like to the tune of "Do Not Destroy." I'm gonna have to look that up and see what it is. Play it on the background music.
Do Not Destroy. Who sang it?
Yeah, which is funny because a lot of times reading these things, there's not a rhyme in sight in most of these things, and I'm like, how y'all just be for real singing about God and His goodness. It really be like conversations and prayers.
Yes.
That they're doing versus like like trying to have these different word plays and stuff.
But that's how it looks for us. Like the songs of our heart aren't like rhyming words and super clever. It's just heartfelt messages to the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else? We got even Psalm 58 and we have 59. I definitely highlighted a few things in these psalms. You got me over here like psalm.
If it's more than one psalm you're referring to, then you can use an S.
That's right. That's when the S at the end. Anything else? I know in 59, I thought it was interesting because, again, here we have David being sought after from Saul. And my description says is when Saul had sent men to watch David's house in order to kill him.
Oh, my God.
And the description was the part that got me because I was like, dang, this man was really plotting.
Yeah.
You're not even safe at your own house. No. You got people out just waiting for you to come outside.
No. Yeah.
I'm like, man.
And David is simply calling out to the Lord.
Yeah.
Like he's not even trying to devise a plan to retaliate. He's just saying, rescue me from my enemies. Oh God.
Is that
protect me from those who have come to destroy me.
That part. And that's the part that I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but he had, in my eyes, every right to, like you said, retaliate, like
empty the clip.
Like to literally do what he saw fit. Yeah. But again, he was relying on the Lord to be the one that did that and delivered him. And I think, man, it just goes to speak on his reliance with God. And too, like, I mean, I even think about the stories with the Israelites and stuff when they go to war and God's like, listen, y'all ain't even got to do nothing. Just, I will fight for you.
Yeah.
You just need to be still. And here we have, again, what it looks like to be still.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. And I think, too, a lot of times we think being still means doing nothing, which we do see in this case, like, he wasn't retaliating, but what he was doing in his stillness was seeking the Lord and on his face and praying and like reminding himself of the goodness of God and who he is and lamenting to the Lord. And like, I'm like, man, like that is a very good way to sit still and to continue to have hope. And I wonder too, if that's why we always see these nuggets of hope at the end of the Psalms, because imagine if it wasn't and it was open-ended and it was just like my despair. I could say for my own life, the more I soak and don't seek the Lord or even have that hope, the more I'm going to want to take matters in my own hand. But and he sure enough like ended Psalm 59 in the same way. You know, my strength, to you I sing praises, for you oh God, are my refuge. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. And is he saying in verse 11, is he simply calling the Lord to rescue him and not kill them? Like he's not even like, am I reading that correctly? Like he's not even saying like, you know, take them out and rescue me. It sounds like he's just saying like, rescue me and don't kill them, for my people soon forget such lessons. Well, It could be, because in my verse it says, "But do not kill them, Lord, our shield, or my people will forget. In your might, uproot them and bring them down."
Just bring them to their knees. Just bring them to humility. Jesus.
And then continue on at 12. It says, "For the sins of their mouths, for the words of their lips, let them be caught in their pride." And then it continues on. "For the curses and lies they utter, consume them in your wrath, consume them till they are no more." Well, no more means dead to me, but till they are no more.
Okay, so there it goes.
But he did say, "Then it will be known to the ends of the earth that God rules over Jacob." So yeah, it did say, "But do not kill them." But I think for sure he's like, some kind of wrath needs to come on them so they know that you are God.
Yeah.
Like, and we're your loved ones.
I think he's saying like that would be too easy. You know what I'm saying? Like there wouldn't be a lesson learned if you just killed them.
Understood.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to say before we close out, Psalm 60, there was a few things that stuck out to me. Again, this is David, praying to God and sending up his laments. But 5 and 6 stuck out to me. It says, "Save us and help us with your right hand, that those you love may be delivered." So again, like he's dependent on God to save him. But then in 6 it says, "God has spoken from his sanctuary. In triumph I will parcel out Shechem and measure off the valley of Succoth." And then I think I said that right. And then and then it continues on. But the reason why this stuck out to me was because David talks about, well, God spoke. And I was just like, wait a minute. Because again, these are songs that they're talking about. And it was like, wait a minute. David had a revelation of what God was actually saying. And God was speaking to him. And he delivered that message and recorded that through the psalm. And so I just thought that was really cool, because a lot of the times we get to see in the Psalms like his lament again, his like praise and all that stuff, but to know that like God was responding to him even in his prayers was something that stuck out to me.
That's good. That's good. I didn't see that. I didn't see a response until you pointed it out just now. That is so good.
Yeah. So this week, or this day, I should say, was super good. I'm glad we were able to just find just these different things that stuck out to us in the Psalms, and even some applicable things that we were able to take with us. But thank you guys again for joining us today. We cannot wait to see you tomorrow. Make sure you catch up on your reading and tune back in with us tomorrow. We'll see you later.
Thank you for joining us for the VIBEZ Daily podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or download our favorite, the VIBEZ Church app. Visit vibes.church/devoted for additional episodes, notes, details, and the latest merch. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the Bible. Take good care.